Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Magic, and today I kind of just want to do a little bit of a just sit back and talk about my experience going to see Dragon Ball Broly. First, I want to start off with is I followed this movie all year long. I have been ever since it was announced that there would be a movie. I was just super excited for it, and I remember when the news broke, we just thought it was a random saying. And then because we knew that the movie was going to be about Saiyans, so we kind of just were speculating. And then when that teaser trailer came out of Goku, doing the martial arts warm up, and just that Saiyan like powering up, there was a few people in the community that I remember saying it's Broly. It's got to be Broly, right? And I would bet you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Most people were like, you guys are crazy. Now, I would have been one of those people that was saying that you were crazy, even though I know Broly is a hell of a moneymaker. He is, if you're trying to make a Dragon Ball movie and you're trying to, just go based off of what the fandom is, the Broly fan base is one of the biggest. Okay, so he's definitely someone who had flaws, definitely a character that had flaws, and but if I'm gonna say anything, I like at least the first Broly movie, even though I think the story is great. It has a few flaws in it, definitely. We all know what those are. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but it was definitely like I definitely enjoyed the movie because it's just like, excuse me, when it comes to Broly, it's really a testosterone manly movie. It's just all these big jacked dudes, which if you ask anybody who likes Dragon Ball, big jacked dudes, just like in wrestling, sell shit. Like, it just sells anything, right? So when it comes to Dragon Ball, big, muscular, and he's Saiyan, if there's one thing about Dragon Ball is almost any movie that there has been a Saiyan, enemy, most people go and buy it. It's this movie. If I'm gonna rank it anywhere, like, I'm not gonna rank it with the Z movies, but out of the Super movies, this one, to me, being someone who enjoyed the first Broly movie, I think that this one is almost on par with Battle of Gods. It's way better than Resurrection F, but this was bringing a character back done right. They played it off as if they had never done this character before. Toriyama wrote the story, and to me, I think it was to cater to the fans, and that he might have liked the character of Broly. I don't remember. There's a couple interviews that came out of things that Toriyama has said about the Broly character, but he rewrote it, and it made you, honestly, in the movie, it makes you feel bad for Broly. Now, in the other movie, you kind of felt bad for him, but then once he started raging out, you were kind of like, okay, I don't feel bad for this character anymore. But now they've gotten rid of the whole stupid backstory where he hates the Goku cried and it traumatized him and all that stupid stuff, and they brought in a story where it actually makes sense, and Broly is a character that people actually like. So, I'm pretty much making this a review of Broly. I need to talk about my experience. We went in, and there's a movie theater. I live like right down the street from a movie theater, but I live in a big city in Florida, so it's kind of like it was a sold out crowd. I had to order my tickets beforehand, and it wasn't really like bad, should I say, because it was being in a movie theater filled with Dragon Ball fans. Now, the later showings that I've gone to, like going afterwards, it wasn't sold out, but I went on opening day to go see this movie, and I got to the movie theater. I went and sat down or whatever. I'm surrounded by Dragon Ball fans. Everybody's screaming, waiting for the movie to happen. And the movie goes on. I'm not gonna go into big detail about the movie. The movie's like going on, and I already hear people that had just left the showing before us talking about spoilers that I don't want to bring up, but they were talking about it, and even though I pretty much knew, I had read the synopsis of the whole movie after it came out in Japan, but even though I read the synopsis, even if you have read the synopsis, you have to go see this movie. Now, sadly, the movie has leaked out onto YouTube since it's come out, but I really feel like that's still not going to see it. That's not the right experience to view this movie, because this movie was one of the most spectacular looking and spectacular sounding movies that I've ever. It's one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. Now, I've heard people say that for like almost everybody that's seen the movie has said that, and I was just like, okay, it can't be that good, right? No, seriously, this movie is visually spectacular. The music that they use in it is spectacular. The dub acting is spectacular. I love Vic Mignogna as Broly again. They finally gave him a character that's not just screaming, even though his screams in this movie are still really good. Rest in peace to his voice. The man is a genius. But oh my gosh, this movie was visually spectacular, and I would tell anybody who loves Dragon Ball to go see this movie. Now, there were a few altercations that happened, and it's not something I didn't start any of these, right? It's somebody, in the fandom, when you go and talk to people, everybody has their own opinions on things and everything, and me and the guy next to me, we start talking, and in the movie, there's something that he called a cop-out, which, if you don't know the definition of a cop-out, it's avoiding doing something that one ought to do. Now, I disagreed with him. I said that it was not a cop-out. It was a smart business move. Now, what he, I guess, didn't understand is this thing that was a cop-out to him. I said, it really isn't. And I explained to him, and the guy was adamant on saying that I was a fanboy and that I didn't know what I was talking about and that I didn't know the definition of a cop-out, which might be true because I didn't really remember it right now. I just had to Google it really quick. But I knew, I had heard cop-out before, and I knew what examples of cop-outs were, and it definitely was not. It was definitely a smart business ploy on the end of Toei and their staff. And I was after that all passed, that was fine. And then as me and my friend, as we were leaving the movie theater, I hear somebody say that Vegito and Gogeta are nowhere near in power because Vegito is basically only a power-up compared to Gogeta. And it took me a minute to think about what he was saying, because as I'm walking by and I hear this, I'm thinking, what does this guy mean? They're both fusions. They're both stated to be as powerful as each other. They're almost equals. They're just two different versions of fusions. But then I hear the guy say that there's no way that if they did Vegito, they would have beat Broly. And that's when I decided that I was like, I asked the guy, because we kind of walked by, but then we were kind of hanging. I was kind of hanging around because I was waiting for my friend to come out of the bathroom, and I asked the guy. I told him, I was like, do you care if we have a conversation about this? And he was like, sure, I don't care, whatever, fine. And I like that about people, like, especially in our fandom, we can have conversations. And I asked him why he means that, and he was comparing Gogeta to Vegito from the merged Zamasu Goku Black arc, the Future Trunks arc. And I was saying you can't compare the two because this is Gogeta post Tournament of Power, and I was like, they're nowhere near on the same scale. And he tells me that, well, yeah, that's why I said it's basically on. I was like, no, see, you can't compare the two. He was like, yo, he would beat him he said that if Broly was fighting Vegito, then there was no way. He didn't say he was fighting Vegito from the Goku Black Future Trunks arc, and he just was adamant on telling me that, yeah, there's no way, even if Vegeta, if they had Pataras, that they would that they wouldn't be able to be. I was like, I believe that what you're talking about is that if somebody, now